Hey, mere mortal listeners, and welcome to another round of the interviews. Today, I had the absolute pleasure of sitting down with Matsen from the Inner City Hermit podcast. His is a Brisbane-based podcast where he interviews business people, local talent, creatives, artists, friends, whoever he wants, and he has an absolute blast with them. But today, the focus of the interview was on him. So we started off a little bit heavier, chatting about judging ourselves, comparing ourselves to others, how we perceive the world, and how he goes about creating his own podcast, getting guests and whatnot. Before, in the end, we get to more lighthearted topics, talking about Brisbane, soccer, friends, the going to Japan, traveling overseas, and we even opened a couple of Pokemon cards. So if you're keen to know what we got, continue to the end, check us out, check him out as well. It's great stuff, and I'll see you later. But that was a good point you were saying just then of like comparing yourself to other people. And I suppose with the podcasting, it is weird because you're trying to get like people's attention. Like you're not doing it just for yourself.
Exactly.
So, and like, how do you like, I guess like start with that? You were just mentioning with Joe Rogan, you're comparing yourself to Joe Rogan, which is insane.
Oh,
like, you're never going to reach
when
that
you think
level.
about it. Yeah.
But how do you deal with that? Because I still deal with that now, man. Like I was doing some research yesterday and went like, oh, you know, a top 1% podcast is like 50,000 downloads per episode. It's just like, oh man.
it's crazy too when like, cause you think about it and you're like, you, in a way, you put like this weird pressure on yourself, like for no reason too. So I think one thing that I had to do from the beginning, and it sounds so stupid, and it's one thing that helped me like massively, is I went to my favorite YouTubers and podcasters. I went to their YouTube and I go to their, you go total videos or something, and then you go earliest upload and you see where they came from.
For sure.
And then that's when you start going, okay, so like their setup looks amazing now, but if you go back to their first episode, you're like, oh, it's like me.
Yeah.
Like that's like they're just recording from their like living room or whatever. So I think the biggest thing that I had to do when I was trying not to compare myself is I had to stop listening for a while. Like I had to stop listening to podcasts for a while because I felt like, you know, especially with the interview sort of style podcasts, if you listen to too many interview style podcasts, you sort of like start to incorporate that person's style into your own style.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing is you have to sort of find your own style of podcast. And then, you know, after that you start to, I feel like once you start enjoying it for your own reasons, you stop comparing yourself. Like, you know, I've got mates, like, for example, the boys from Bloody Brilliant Beers, where, like, their podcast is doing amazing. And they started, like, you know, probably well after me, maybe like 6 months after me. But it's, you know, you don't want to compare. Like, you don't want to be like, oh, how many downloads are you getting? Because it's apples and oranges. Like, we're doing completely different things.
Exactly.
They've got their own niche. I've got my sort of own niche. And I think the way I sort of get it is like the internet is such a massive place. Like everyone can sort of eat. Like there's room for everyone. Like, you know, I get asked, oh, how do you feel about there being other podcasters in Brisbane? I was like, why?
No, I need to just throw them
why
away.
why would I care about like that? I reckon that's probably sick. Like, I mean, the biggest podcasting community is obviously like the comedy scene in LA. And the reason why it's so big is because they all collaborate.
Exactly.
So it's like when someone like, for example, you boys, when you reach out to me, it's like, hell yeah, like fucking oath. Of course I want to come on and like, and then like someone else, you might go on someone else's podcast that I know, and then growth happens through collaboration, not through competition.
Yeah. And with the other people, like they come up
with
you, so
definitely.
It's not you taking them down.
That's
it,
you man.
Growing with them.
I think this mentality of, and it's a very like sort of business style mentality, is like, I've got this product and then they've got that product. I need to make sure they buy my product and not theirs. Where it's like, in media or in like YouTube or anything, it's like, it should be, you know, oh, they watch my stuff, but you know, I want people to watch these people's stuff, and I want people to listen to this. And, you know, it's especially this sort of media, it's an avenue where everyone can win. Like everyone's listening to something at some point. So, you know, and then, you know, so I think that sort of gets rid of the whole comparison aspect. Like, but it is, like you said, like, you can't not think about it.
Yeah.
Like if someone comes up to me and says, oh, I never compare myself to others, I'm like, you're full of shit. You definitely do it. Whether you do it subconsciously or consciously, everyone compares themselves.
Yeah. I think one of the things I've noticed while getting older is like the more happier I get is when I sort of make myself stupider in some ways. Like intentionally not think about something, or intentionally think about something like overanalyze something. So that was a problem I always had, man.
Yeah,
always
definitely, man.
Like, blah, blah, blah. Like I can make myself better. I can do this better. This needs to be. And yeah, one of the things I've realized, like, okay, no, just like switch that off.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
just do it. Don't think about it.
Yeah, I used to be really self-conscious about like, because I'm not like that intellectually smart. Like I got good street smarts. I know I can walk in the street and not die.
Yeah.
But in terms of intellect, like I wouldn't consider myself a very intellectual person. I'm just a curious person. And then so I was always very conscious of, well, like whenever, if I'm in a room full of people, I know I'm not the smartest person there. And I used to look at that as like, man, like I'm a dumbass. Like, fuck, this makes me feel like shit. But then my girlfriend said to me, she's like, why would you want to be the smartest person in the room? And I was like, what do you mean? She goes, well, you've got nothing to learn if you're the smartest person in the room. If you're not the smartest person in the room, you've always got the opportunity to learn from someone else. And then I like thought about that. And it came through like talking to like Isaac John, who owns YKTR. He's like, you know, I am like the most underrated businessman ever. Like I rock up to business meetings in hoodies, but what separates me from others is I'm always willing to learn. Like I embrace the fact that I'm not the smartest person in the room.
Yeah.
And then I think that's like, now instead of being self-conscious about being dumb, I sort of just like, I'm like, yeah, like, okay, sweet. I'm just going to be a sponge. Like what can I learn from everyone in this room?
Definitely.
And that's good for, it's good for the podcast too, because you know, if I get someone on, it's not because I'm like, oh, this person's going to get me views. It's like, oh, this person knows so much about music production, or this person knows so much about Pokemon cards, or this person's like a talented athlete. Like what's their story? And then like you're constantly learning. And I think that's what makes podcasting awesome as well, is because you have the opportunity to learn as a host.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? Like,
how do you get all your people, man? You have so many like variety people.
Yeah, I don't like.
Is it people you knew beforehand?
Yeah. So I think I definitely explored like the whole reason I started was because I had so many mates or so many people that I associate with through work or football or whatever doing like really cool shit. And I was like, you know, like instead of thinking like going like on a national scale, who's doing amazing things, like who's doing cool shit in our backyard, like who's got a business that's like a really good business, or who's like an up and coming clothing designer or rapper or like athlete. And then I thought, all right, well, I'll go, you know, I'll sort of lower it, like instead of shooting for the greatest people ever and not having a guest for like 6 months and then getting one guest who's like really high caliber, I was like, why not start small? So I reached out to my mates first, and then like obviously I have like Connor, for example, that runs Plastic Love. He was excellent to come on, and it was perfect for him too because it allowed him a platform to sort of explain what the business was about. Yeah. Darcy and Klutzy, Bloody Brilliant Beers, like that just sort of flourished in itself, and then like chatting to them. So it was very localized. And then I think once, and this is what a lot of people sort of underestimate, like you sort of think about perfection, like, oh, you need that perfect episode, or I only want to upload episodes if they're 100% awesome with like best guests. Yeah. It's like a lot of people are willing to come on like Inner City Hermit because they know like there's 70 episodes, like it's consistent, it's going to keep coming out. So even though it's small, they're like, well, you know, this podcast isn't going to die next week. Yeah. So it's a good investment in like themselves and like the podcast itself. So I think getting over the rejection, like it's definitely like man, I reckon like 9 in 10 people I ask will be like, nah, sorry mate, I don't have time or this. But like there's always going to be one person that's keen. Yeah. It's just like going in on that one person. But I guess collaborating is the best thing, and always being open to everybody. Yeah. Like even if they're not someone that you yourself would be like, oh, I'm not really into that. It's like, well, your listeners might be. So you have to make a conscious effort to go, okay, sweet. I'm going to learn about this person and I'm going to do a really good interview with them so that not only do you have a product to give, but you've got something to give, a service that you've given to that person in terms of their growth as well. Yeah.
On a side note, I was watching your one with Nick Santanella.
Yeah.
And I was going through, I was about halfway through and I went, wait, I think I know him. I'm pretty sure I played soccer with him.
Yeah, I heard. I was listening, and you mentioned you played soccer. I think it was when you were talking about the cars, like people driving past and shit. Yeah. Bro, funniest thing, that literally always happens in like terrible, games on the motor. It sucks, bro. Like you get like pussy, and you're like, thanks, mate. Cheers, bro.
We used to play at Clark's Road, which is in Logan, and it's just this huge area where it's like 3 soccer fields in a row.
I used to play rep football there.
Oh, no.
That used to be our rep training ground. Yeah.
Oh,
that's wild. Who'd you play? You play for Logan?
Loganholme Lightning.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I used to play there. In my later junior years. That's where I played.
Dude, we probably passed each other.
Oh, mate, probably. How old are you?
I'm 28.
28, yeah, probably, man.
Yeah.
Like, because we trained, because I'm 25, but we had like a big training group. Like, there was a big group where they'd like go, like, you're over here because you're this age, you're over here because this, but it was at the same time.
Yeah, for sure.
Probably,
almost certainly.
It's weird how like life's like that.
Is that how you know Nick?
I know Nick. He's been one of my best mates since I was like 14 years old. We played against each other because I used to play for Rochdale. And then eventually him and like all my mates that I'm still really close with ended up going to the same school. And then that's where we sort of known each other. And then, you know how like when you're at school, I always find this, you tend to sort of keep in contact with like 5 people, like 5 really close people. And the other people you sort of see intermittently. And like he was one of those 5 where I just still stay really close to him, really close to his family and stuff like that.
Yeah, nice.
Which is really cool.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I was on his soccer team at some point. If not, his dad runs like.
Yeah, I think he's got an older brother too. Who's your age?
Yeah,
Nathan.
Maybe it was.
It could have been.
Nathan,
yeah, it could have been, man.
Yeah, well, those two would hang around each other as well, like knew each other.
Yeah, definitely.
Come in pairs, so.
Yeah, but it's funny. It's funny like that, especially in sports. Sports, one of those things. I was actually thinking this last night, like how many people I knew just from playing football, and it's like predominantly all the people that I'm still close with are mates that I play football with.
Yeah,
it's
like, that's so cool, man.
Yeah, it's so amazing, man. It's like to be connected like that just through like a game. Like, that's so good.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I wish I'd sort of played more or like stuck with it a little bit more.
Yeah.
At least like keeping those contacts as well.
Yeah.
I've always been super shy and like, yeah, I suppose that wasn't a huge thing for me.
Yeah.
Like having lots of friends, I'd actually probably prefer to have like less friends.
Yeah, definitely.
But there was people like I played soccer in Mackay for a year 4 or 5 years ago.
Oh, okay.
And like I just lost contact with all of them. Like
it's
sort of too
like
hard.
that, man. Yeah, definitely. And especially as you get older too, like life gets in the way. You know what I mean? Like I even look at how many times, like last night it was great. Like I had a football game because I play for Sucks Creek at the moment. We just play Cap 2. So it's like, you know, it's like serious, but it's still just a bit of a fuck around with your mates, which is good. But I was just sitting around at the end of the game. Like I drove, so I was pretty much just going to drive a couple of the boys into the city. And like, I was just sitting there and I was like, man, like you see these guys all the time. Like they become like your main friendship group after a while. Like, and like I always think about like, oh, should I sort of, you know, give in and like my body's getting a bit sore now and all that sort of stuff. And then I like have a good game and then we have beers afterwards and you're like, fuck, I can't leave this shit, It's too good, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's another thing. Like I love having like someone like Nick on, like just my mates.
Yeah, exactly.
Just to chat, because like how many times, and it's like a running joke, but how many times are you at a pub having a chat with your mates and you're like, fuck, this is a good conversation. Whether it's like you're taking the piss or it's a serious conversation, you're like, how good would it be to like document this in a way that other people can sort of listen to it as well?
100%, man. I that's how ours sort of started when I was traveling through South America.
Yeah.
I'd regularly like keep in contact with Juan and another friend in particular, Juan and Joey. And yeah, we'd do it like through WhatsApp mostly, but then we started doing Skype calls. And we said probably like 50 times during that whole time, like, oh man, we should make this into a podcast. We should do something with this. It was probably a bit hard at the time, especially just with me traveling, like carrying a microphone and getting good internet connection.
It's a struggle, especially South America, man. I remember my girlfriend went traveling for 6 weeks there, and it was pretty much like we just couldn't talk to each other for 6 weeks.
Yeah. Where'd she go?
She went to, oh man, I know she went to like the big like Machu Picchu and stuff like that. But she went, she was in Brazil. I know she was in Brazil for a while. Oh man, this is ages ago, eh? Yeah, anyway, she went to some sketchy places too. Yeah. So for me, I was like, fuck, like I was stressing a little bit.
Oh,
but yeah, well, you know, but I think I feel like, and it's one of those things you feel bad about because you stress, but you stress only because like you stress about what media says, and like, you know, I've seen like Banged Up Abroad and stuff like that. You're like, oh shit, I don't want that to happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I want to go there. I want to go there so badly, like just for the football as well, man. Like
it's insane, man. I went to one match in Colombia in Medellin, which is like it was a big stadium, no doubt, but it was sort of between like one big team and like a smaller team. It wasn't even a rivalry one. and it wasn't full, but the people that were there were insane. It was so funny. So I was sitting like, I asked specifically not to be in the crazy section because I was on my own. I was like, you know what, I'll keep it safe. And so I just went to like the sort of stand like overlooking the pitch on the lengthwise.
Yeah.
And in front of me, there was this like old lady and her husband who were probably like 50s, 60s. And she got out her knitting and she was doing knitting there. I was like, oh, this is kind of tame. Like, this isn't that big.
Yeah.
But then the ref made like a bad call where it should have been a penalty.
This fucking knitting just
this eruption of all these like middle-aged people, like the most innocent, nice looking people just starting. And my Spanish was okay, but I intentionally didn't learn swear words because I knew I'd use them too much. So you were just sitting
there like, I don't know what's being said, and I know it's bad.
I sort of knew as well. I just went, oh, okay.
Oh man,
so that was awesome, man. Yeah, you have to like make an effort to go.
I would like, I'm so excited to do that sort of stuff, but like, you know, it's rough at the moment because I think, you know, we don't really know when anything's going to open, man. It's really hard. Difficult. Like a mate of mine was having a wedding in Fiji, so he had to sort of push that back. But now it's getting to the point where like, will we be able to go overseas next year? Like you know, it's really hard to sort of see the future in terms of like, you don't know, like it's so uncertain and everything. So like when it comes to those holiday plans, it's kind of rough. Like you got all these sort of plans to go, like I really want to go to Europe as well, but
same.
You're like, how long is it going to be till we can do that?
Yeah. When it first came out, I was like, yes, this is the perfect opportunity. It'll last for like 5-6 months. Then I'll be like on the first flight to Europe.
And you
I'll
can
be
save
there.
all your money up.
Yeah,
and then
there'll be no tourists anywhere.
Yeah.
And it's like, nah, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah, man, it's like it sucks. I think that the longer it goes on, the more and more like realistic you sort of become. Like about like, oh shit, are we gonna be able to travel for like years? Like, what's it going like? And even when traveling comes back, like, what a flight's gonna be like? What an airline's gonna be like?
How many hostels are gonna be? You know,
man, I saw because I love going to like Bali. Bali's like one of the places I go. It's like super stereotypical as an Aussie, but it's just for me, it's like the cheapest place to go. And it's like beautiful. Like you can get, you know, I'll get like a villa in fucking like Uluwatu or something, and you just don't do anything. Like you just chill out there. But I saw some photos of Kuta the other day, like recent photos, and it's like a bomb site, man.
Oh,
it's
really?
just all the markets have disappeared. Like because I mean, like 90% of their income is from tourism, and then you take that away, and then it's like, who knows what it's going to be like when people can go back there, or if people are going to be able to go back there with, you know, if people are poor or something like that, in terms of you take away their sole source of income, are they going to resort to more crime-based stuff? Like, you don't know. Like nobody knows, and it's so hard to predict, which is kind of in a way a little bit scary.
Yeah. But I guess that brings back like the age of adventurers again. It just sort of feel like something new, you know. Like
definitely.
There's no recommendations or hostels. You have to just go and
I think that's a good point. That's a good way to look at it. Like it's a new sort of way that we can sort of map out like places to go, and I guess it's like a clean slate again. Like whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, it's interesting.
It'll have its mix for sure.
For sure, man.
There won't be, you know, in Peru there's like the Wild Rover hostels, which are just like the most insane things. I didn't actually go, but I met a dude who like worked and bartended there, and he was just saying how his boss was getting up him because he wasn't drunk enough when he was bartending.
Holy
she was like,
shit.
no, you need more shots.
Imagine that, man. Oh, I would be a menace.
Yeah, so he was saying like it was just off jobs. Like it was like mayhem, absolute mayhem.
It's wild like that. Like I know the ski fields in Canada are like that. Like a friend of mine lived in Canada for like 2 years, and we went and visited him, and we were over there for like 5 weeks, I think, and it was just a different level. Like it was just every single night. Like I've been to I usually go snowboarding in Japan, where it's like it's not like nothing's going on, but it's a lot more tame.
Yeah.
Go to Canada, man. It's just Australians everywhere that are just blind. Like Australians are working across the bar, and it's insane, man. Alcohol's so cheap, so it's like an Australian's paradise.
Exactly.
Obviously our binge drinking culture is massive.
Yeah.
So it's like you get to a place like that and you can just go ham.
Yeah. There was plenty of dudes in Mexico who the cheap beer and cheap cocaine was very bad for them.
I could imagine. Like it's like insane when they sort of come back and they come back to reality as well, and it's like, oh shit, like everything's expensive.
Yeah. You mentioned Japan though. I wanted to get onto that.
Yeah, man.
Because on my trip home, I purposely came and met with Juan and Joey in Japan for 2 weeks.
Yeah, dude, best place on earth.
Yeah. How many times have you been there?
I've been 5 or 6 times. Enough to sort of like, it all like intertwines into one now, and I'm not 100% sure.
Oh, that's so
cool.
But
man, I love that place. Like I've been obsessed with Japan ever since my first Japanese lesson in primary school.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Well, I had a big, like massive anime upbringing. Like I grew up on like Cheese TV with like Dragon Ball Z, Pokemon. Then obviously playing like the Pokemon games. I just was obsessed. And like, I think when it's sort of like, you know, when you go somewhere and then you think to yourself like, oh, I'm going to go to this place and it's going to be amazing and I'm going to love it. And then you get there and it's like, it's not as good, so you lose it. Japan was the complete opposite. Japan was better than I had expected, like everything. And then I just got addicted. I was like, I just want to keep coming back here. Like it has snowboarding, which is like one of my biggest loves. Like I love to snowboard. But like just the culture around Japan is awesome. Like they're polite, they're chilled out. Like they love like, you know, art and anime and stuff like that. And I don't know, man. It's just an awesome place to be. Like, you know, you would have like had the same experience. Like it's just, and especially like, you know, you're talking about with me with the Pokemon thing, like how you used to be in it. Like it's like you go back there and you feel like a kid again. Like you see all these anime things, Dragon Ball Z things. You feel like you're 12 years old or 11 years old, waking up and watching Saturday morning cartoons.
Yeah, it's so novel and new. And everything is, like you mentioned, clean and pristine. I hate litter. I hate noise.
Yeah,
one
exactly.
thing in South America is the honking man.
Oh,
I have
dude. Southeast Asia is the same, man.
They're always on it. But in Japan, there was... I went into... Like, I got off the flight, caught the subway into... Asakusa area, and I got out and I was just wandering the streets and I just went, I can't hear anything. Like, is this like the rural outskirts of Tokyo? No, it's like right in the center.
Man. It's just, I think it's the lights, everything about it is just like, I still like, if I want to chill out at the moment, like I'll put some like lo-fi music on and then I'll just literally put up on my TV just while I'm like doing some editing or something. I'll just have like a video of like walking through Shinjuku or walking through Shibuya or something like that. Cause it's just like, I had this one day and like, she hates me saying this because my missus was sick that day. So I went out by myself.
Yeah.
But it was the best day I've ever had, man. Like it was, I literally left, we were in Tokyo and Kia was like so sick. Like she was just like, look, I just want to sleep all day. And she felt really bad. She's like, oh, I'm so sorry. And in my head, I was like, because I love being alone. Like I love being around people, but I really love being alone. Like it's nice to just have your thoughts and just do things like, you know, I don't have to ask people like, oh, do you want to do this? It's like, I feel like going there, I'm going to go there.
Yeah.
And so I literally kicked up my Pokemon Go on my phone. I was like, right, I've got my like battery charger. I'm just going to go out today. I'm just going to walk around like Tokyo. I'm just going to catch Pokemon. I'm just going to like see shit.
Yeah.
Man, it was probably my favorite day in Japan. Like I just went out, I was just catching Pokemon. Like you'd get to like a Pokestop and like, cause you're like the token white dude at a Pokestop, everyone's like, oh, like where are you from? Yeah, shit like that. And then, you know, you'd rock into 7-Eleven, get like one of the canned coffees, you'd walk around a shopping center. Like I literally just had music on the whole day playing Pokemon Go, just like taking in everything. And it was just, man, I still have like thoughts about like, when I get stressed at work or something, I just think back to that day and I'm just like automatically like happy. Like it was such a nice day. And then, like those sort of days are just 1 in a million. Like it was just perfect.
Yeah.
But it was just purely because I just love the place and I was just taking in it. Like I could do the same thing in Brisbane and just not give a fuck. But because I was there, I was just like in awe of everything and being able to like see something and be like, I'm just going to go check that out or
And you probably covered like 10, 20 Ks.
Bro,
you wouldn't even notice.
I checked my watch. I think I did like 35,000 steps, man. Like I like walked the equivalent of like a marathon. It was ridiculous.
Yeah,
but I felt it too. Like I got home, felt good. And then I was just like, I am so tired. Like And Kia was like, what did you do all day? And I was like, I just walked. Like I literally just full on like Forrest Gumped it, like just walked everywhere.
That's the best bit about traveling, man, when you do that as well. I used to grab like a city map, or they'd give you like, especially if it was a big one.
Yeah.
And I'd just try and walk every single street that I could. So if I was in the city for like 7 days or something, I'd always try and like take a different route home.
Yeah, well, the best streets to walk down are the back streets. Like the ones that you get out. Like we did the same. Like unfortunately, I was only in Vancouver for like maybe 2 days when I went to Canada, because we sort of went straight to the snow. But me and my mate, we just like had a couple beers and we just walked. We just walked around the whole of Vancouver, and same thing. It was just really cool. It was so different. Like it was so similar but different. And you sort of take in every little difference. Like, oh, that looks the same as like Brisbane, but it's completely different. Or you'll see something, it's like, oh, that looks like, an American movie, even though like you're in Canada, which is like America's little brother. So those days, I think when you don't actually have any plans, they're the best days. For sure. I reckon, because you just feel free. Like you feel you don't have any restrictions. You're not at home worrying about work. You don't have to be anywhere on time. Yeah. It's just you feel like free.
Yeah. And it's something about traveling that captures that, because it's just almost impossible to do it at home, where you're like, oh, I know this street or that street or that park or whatever will recall a memory from another thing. So you're sort of living in the past. You're not living in like the right now,
or like
everything.
You can even do the whole like, because we can't travel that much, we're like, oh, we should do like a travel day, like as if we're traveling, but be in Brisbane and like go to the Goma and shit like that. But you can try your best, but I'll still walk past the Commonwealth Bank building and be like, oh fuck, I did a PD for work there. And you'll walk past something else like, oh fuck, I went to uni there. I used to work at the uni. Like you just have, instead of like everything being new, you're just like, oh fuck, like you're constantly just like, oh, remember that. Yeah, exactly. You can try your best, but it's hard.
Yeah. And it's something I think about going somewhere completely different as well, where so I actually hadn't been to Melbourne until last year. And I'd been to Sydney a couple of times, but not properly in the city centre. But for Melbourne, I was walking around, I was seeing stuff, and it was cool. It was interesting. It was new, but it was still Australia. Yeah. It still was like, it was still nothing completely out of the ordinary.
Like you want something that's like super alien. Like, like that's one thing about Japan. Like you walk into like a convenience store and you just like, in awe. You're just looking at shit. The people are like, why are you in here for like 30 minutes? I was like, oh, just look at all this shit. I know, man. Right? Like, you know what I mean? Like it even things like that. Like I love going into shopping centers overseas. Like I don't buy anything, but I'm just always, it's like, I'm curious about things that are so normal and how they're not normal for for like someone coming into that's new. You know what I mean? Like if, say for example, you're from another country and you came and you went to like, Chermside or something, and you see everything, you're like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
It's wild, man.
There's a scented food court. What's
exactly. Like it's like that. Those differences and normalities are like the wild thing.
I went in Chile in Santiago. It was probably my like 5th day of traveling, and I needed to cut through this building, this block base essentially, and I saw there was like I could actually just look down and straight look through the block to the other side. So I was like, oh, I'll just go through there, and it was, I don't know what it was. I'm pretty sure it was like an apartment or office building, because they had multiple lifts on each side. But apart from those lifts, every store was just phone cases. And it was like 100 meters of phone cases.
You're like, how many people have like 8 phones? Like it's wild. Yeah. No.
And they were all tiny shops as well. You know, the size of like, I don't know, this room even. And it's just phone cases. And there'd be different ones. So there'd be like a Halloween store, there'd be a Christmas store, it was just insane,
crazy, man. Like
how does this work?
Yeah, no, it's wild when you see like differences like that. You're like, what the hell?
Yeah. Have you traveled much elsewhere? So like Europe or
not Europe yet. I've always been one of those people that I wanted to wait until I had like a full-time job, had like a lot of money, because like
that's the same with
not
me.
like a lot of money, but like
enough
like you know, South America, like I've never been, but like Southeast Asia, like Thailand and stuff like that. You can do Thailand on the cheap, like and you can live quite like, if you go on a holiday, you want to ball out a little bit and do things you're not really used to. So going to like Bali, Thailand, places like that, or like even Japan in a sense is like that. But then, if you go to Europe, like I want to do Yacht Week and I want to do the big things and like,
go into a football game.
Exactly.
Costs,
yeah, man. And like,
pounds or whatever.
Exactly, man. It's like my brother and my dad went to England a couple of years ago, and like they both like they didn't like overspend, but it's just because they wanted to do the shit that they wanted to do.
Yeah.
It was just more money. Like, and I hate going on holidays when you're constantly like, oh, do I have enough money for this? Do I have like, I guess it's different when you're traveling for an extended amount of time. Like you're like, sweet, nah, I'll save money here and save. But when you're going for like 4 or 5 weeks and you're like, I don't want to skimp for 4 or 5 weeks. Like I want to have a good bank of money ready to go.
Yeah.
So I was always like, yeah, I'll save up. And then like we were sort of thinking about Europe in the coming like year or so. And same with America. We were thinking about doing a big America trip, but then like obviously everything went down and now it's like, fuck, like, who knows how long it's going to be once again. But yeah, it's like mainly around, I think, man, where else have I been? I haven't been too many places. I've been to a lot of the places like a couple times, like Japan, obviously heaps of times for snowboarding. Like I love going there. Like I'm definitely a winter person. Same reason I went to Canada for snowboarding.
Have you done much of the like the interior of Japan? So like there's a huge section of like Tokyo, Kyoto, Osaka, and then up north is I can't remember the name of the city up there.
Like Sapporo's up there.
Sapporo.
Yeah,
man. Have you done more of like the countryside sort of area?
I haven't, and I want to so badly, man. Like I'd love to do. I watch a lot of YouTubers that go those, and even like coastal Japan is like fucking beautiful, but I've never been there. Like, I think the closest I've been to the coast is like Hiroshima, where you're still like an hour away from the coast.
Yeah, exactly.
But oh man, I'd love to do like a oceanside, Japan trip, like, or go to just like weird cities that aren't like your stereotypical like Tokyo, Kyoto, Osaka, because they're like the main ones you sort of go to. Like I definitely, and I want to go snowboarding in Niseko. I think I always go to Hakuba, which is like great because you know when you're there to snowboard, you're like. You kind of just want to get there, be like, I know where everything is. Let's get on the mountain. Whereas like, I'm kind of keen to do somewhere that's like, I don't know the trails. Like, I don't know where to go to drink. It's like, I'm pretty keen on that sort of stuff. Now, like with the new sort of been to Hakuba like a couple times now. So it's like, I wouldn't mind going to Niseko, seeing how it is. Cause apparently it's super different.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, I mean, that being said, Tokyo is probably one of the only big cities where I'm like, I want to go back there.
Oh,
I
definitely, man.
Like, I saw nothing. And I went to a bunch of places, but I saw nothing.
Yeah, and like even when you're there for like so long, you still see nothing. Like it's so big, man. It's like, I was thinking that like when I went to Bangkok, we went to I was just looking in we were in a pretty high building. Like I went quite a long time ago. I think I was only 15. I still went with my parents. And I remember just being in our hotel, like maybe like 24 stories up, and you just look out and you're like, it doesn't end. Like there's no end to this city. Like it just keeps going. And you wonder like what's even, in the rest of the city, like, or how you can even look. Like it's just so big. It's impossible to explore the whole thing,
For sure.
Yeah, it's kind of in a way like a little bit daunting. You're like, holy shit, like this place doesn't end, man. Yeah.
Impossible to go through it all.
Man.
And it's like, you have to accept that as well. You're not going to be able to see everything. You're not going to be able to go to every cool place that you hear of. Because I mean, you can't even do that in Brisbane.
Oh,
really.
exactly.
Like, if you wanted to hit every new restaurant or new thing, it's like, it'll take too long.
Yeah, exactly, man.
So we got some Pokemon cards here, man. I asked you to bring some because I used to be into them. When I was a kid, I loved them, man. I was buying packs all the time. I think I never got a Charizard, but I had I'm pretty sure I had a Blastoise and a Venusaur, which were my like favorites, I guess. And then I went to the Pokemon movie and got the Dragonite.
That's sick, man. And the Mew card now is like worth a little bit of cash too if it's PSA graded as well, which is sick. But I bought Evolutions today because I figured like you were keen on the nostalgic sort of vibe. So Evolutions is a reprint of the base set, so it's pretty much like all the original sort of like I think there's 108 cards in the set, so it's not all the Pokemon in the main like 150, but it's like it's just reprinted cards, so it's pretty sick. And so you can get there's a couple really good cards in there. So obviously Mega Charizard would be a good one to get. And if we can snag that bloody Charizard Holo. Big things, man, big things. But
so is there one company that actually produces?
Yeah, so it used to be Wizards of the Coast. So Wizards of the Coast did up to, I think it was Neo Genesis was their last one. I don't know, like probably some Pokemon card whiz is going to come in and chop you down.
Yeah, of course.
He's like, you're a fucking idiot. But from what I know, Neo Genesis is the last sort of one about Wizards of the Coast that's going for like good cash at the moment. And then the Pokemon company sort of took it over and now they print their own cards, which is like, you know, in a way, like it's good, but the Wizards of the Coast cards, there's just something about those cards that are just like, for people who have been in like around Pokemon for so long, you get those cards and you just feel like you're a kid again. Yeah, that's why I love this set so much, because every time I open it up, it's like when you were younger opening up base set packs, you didn't really know how to open them and like, you didn't really care. You just like brush through everything and then get to the holo. You're like, oh, sick. And like, whereas now you sort of appreciate like all the art and the cards and how much the Pokemon have changed. And yeah, I don't know. It's just a super nostalgic experience for me. And then like I started that TikTok, just shits and gigs, and it like fucking blew up. Like it's got like 6,000 followers on it now.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's just me like opening up Pokemon cards, man, which is so funny. And it's like, it's to be honest, like this, I don't want to get anything out of it. Like it's purely just, I want to open it up and then see my reaction when I pull like a half decent card.
Yeah. So, yeah. And that's probably what they're following for, like the passion.
Yeah.
It's not
it, man.
You're getting
that's
awesome
it.
cards, not because you're.
Yeah. It's a great hobby too. Like it's just one of those things that chills me out. Like, you know, you sort out the cards, you're opening a couple packets and like, you know, you can sell the cards when you want to and then, you know, fund other purchases. So it's like it's a hobby that you can sort of get into, flip cards, buy more. Like it's like mini stocks.
Yeah,
like you can just buy and sell stocks and shit.
And way more fun than going through like dredging reports.
Yeah, so much fun. Yeah, but do you want to crack them open?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, bro, let's do it. So
I'll let you guide me through it.
All right, so like best way to do it, man, is so I tend to. So you got the code card at the back. We can leave those. We'll get rid of those.
Yeah.
Spin it around. And then what you do is you go 3 to the front with this one. So you pull one, two, three, and push it to the front.
Yep.
And then we just chuck it in the hands.
Cool. All right.
Yeah, let's go. We'll go yours first, bro.
Right. So we got Nidorino.
Nice.
Trainer, Super Potion. Another trainer,
Brock's Grit.
Poliwag. I used to love Poliwag.
Yeah, dude. Ghastly. I love that card, man. I think that card is so gangster.
It's so simple as well.
Yeah,
just
man.
a pair of eyes and a little fang mouth.
You got a Magnemite. Looking good. A Seal.
Not too shabby.
A Charmander. Oh, a reverse magma. I'm feeling good on this card, bro. And we got the Mega Venusaur EX. Yeah. That's a great card, bro.
Awesome.
That's a really good card.
So how do you, what's the differences between like the holos,
So pretty much this one, like these ones are it's not quite full art, but I think mainly these cards, like the rarity on them is obviously a lot better than say standard holos.
Yeah.
But it's very much based around like stocks, for example. Like there might be a stock that's going for more money than something because randomly someone bought into it. So for example, like card values have increased rapidly ever since Gary Vee started like talking about Pokemon cards because he's like, but not only that, it's about like, so for example, this set's randomly sort of stopped being printed. So a booster box usually would go for about 125. It's sitting at about $210 at the moment. Yeah. And then those usually increase. But then again, if they start to reprint more, then that value decreases again. So it's all about sort of buying and selling at the right time. But for these ones, like anything with the top 3, so Venusaur, Charizard, Blastoise is always going to catch cash. Because it's,
for sure.
You know, people love those. They're like nostalgic. They're just, you know, every time I see a Venusaur or a Blastoise or a Charizard, I just get pumped.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's sick. All right, but we'll do this one. All right, we got that, the double energy, the Machoke, a Coughing, a Diglett, a Seal, a Nidoran, Ponyta, a Dodrio. Man, like I hate saying it all the time, but it's just so cool because these are like literally the cards you grew up on.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
We got a reverse holo energy and a absolutely garbage Farfetch'd, but I still need that card, so that's not too bad. But yeah, man. So like that's an excellent card to sort of get out. Like these EX cards, Like, I just think the design of these EX cards are sick too. Like just the Japanese writing across it. Like it just looks like a boss card. But like
in the cards in Japan, they're all in Japanese, right?
Yeah. So I've actually recently just started getting really into like the Japanese cards. Like I won a booster box so it's raffles in like the Pokemon world are called Razzes.
Yeah.
What you do is like there'll be a box and you buy like a place for $10, and then for $10 it'll be like, there'll be 10 other people, and then what they'll do is they'll just like randomly select a winner using this random generator website.
Yeah.
And I won this booster box there, and then I just started like I did a live opening on Facebook on this Pokemon Center page, and and I don't know, like I was just like looking at the Japanese cards, and I just got addicted to them. Like not only for like the card purposes, but I was just like these Japanese cards are so sick. Like, and you just know like that's the origin of them. Like they come from Japan. They're like, there's something about it, man. It's really cool. Yeah, it's really cool. It's just one of those things that are fun. I think as an adult, you tend not to have as much fun, and then you get it back into something like cards, and you're like, fuck, this is so fun.
Yeah, just something silly, something that, takes you out of the day.
Yeah, that's it, man.
Something to look forward to. Like if you have a Pokemon deck at home or, a set ready to open.
Yeah, and I love doing those videos. Like, you can be a little bit of a kid when you make those videos. Like you can get excited. You're not stressed about it. Like everyone's like, oh, like, do you feel like a bit of a kid when you do it? I'm like, fucking oath, that's why I do it.
Yeah.
How many opportunities as an adult do you have to act like an adult kid? Like, very rarely now. So it's like, fuck it, get back into cards and just have a laugh. And that's the best thing about it.
Yeah, that's with a podcast that we've got coming, releasing today. This will be released 2 weeks, so it'll be a little bit behind. But we did an episode on aliens. And
fuck yeah.
Like normally, like probably the past month or two, we sort of do like a themed one on Sundays. We'll do like a little bit of research, put a bit of effort into it. And this one, we still did, but just like dressed up in stupid shit just for the fun of it. I had like
good
little tentacle things around here, and it was
my favorite Joe Rogan podcast when he does them with Duncan Trussell. And bro, they just dress up like the most fucked thing, and like automatically, man, it's gonna be a fucking sick listen. There's going to be aliens. Like my favorite one so far lately is the Post Malone one, where they just got like fucked up on shrooms and they just spoke about like aliens and stuff. I was like, this is the best. Like this is what I want to listen to. And it's like, I just explained to Kia, like, she's like, oh, but what do you want people to get out of your podcast? And like, in a way, I'm just like, I just want them to escape. Like, it's okay to record something and not have to educate people on, how to start a business or how to do this or how to do that. Like some people genuinely like to listen to podcasts just to escape whatever they're doing. You know what I mean? I have so many people that listen to Inner City Hermit while they're like doing Excel spreadsheets at work. You know what I mean? Like sometimes we sort of label things as like everyone sort of gets so caught up in that, like, oh, you got to be able to educate people. It's like, well, I feel like you got to be able to distract people too. Like not everyone wants to be switched on all the time. Some people just want to listen to just, two blokes talking about like shitting themselves at a fucking club or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's, those sort of podcasts are the best, I reckon. Like there's just no pressure on either people. Like, the person you're interviewing doesn't have to be like, oh shit, I need to have all these notes written up about all the things. And you don't have to be like, okay, well, we're going to spend 10 minutes on this, 10 minutes on that, 5 minutes on this. Like, the unstructured like layout of just a fun podcast is so fun. It's so good.
Yeah. And it goes quicker as well. Like if you're just having fun. That's what sort of Juan and I do, like a little bit of both. We'll do like some more serious ones, and like I'm doing book reviews and stuff. So those are definitely more like, all right, I'm trying to like get something out of this or apply it to my life. But then we'll do like a meanderings episode where we just talk about philosophy or like,
exactly. And it's just
questions for each other.
Things that you're just into. Like, you know what I mean? I love having the people in that, will talk about their business or whatever. And I'm like so interested. And then I'll be like, this week I'm just keen to talk to my mates, and then I'll like get a mate on or whatever, and we'll just chat shit. And then the next week we'll get someone else serious on. It's like, it's very like, I guess in a way, I hate to like sort of draw the comparison, but it's very like Rogan-esque in that regard. But I think those podcasts are very like inclusive for a lot of people. Like, you don't have to be like, oh, I'm not a business owner, so like I don't really want to listen to that podcast. It could be like, oh, I'll listen to that one, probably won't listen to that one, but then I'll come back and listen to the next one because it's like what I'm into.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. One of the things we've started doing is, I guess, splitting it into like sort of serious and non-serious.
Yeah.
So we're trying to come up with like a little bit of a color coding as well. So we're going to eventually tell people like, look, if you're enjoying our more serious stuff, this is like, look out for these ones.
Yeah.
If you want to have more fun or get into like, whatever topics, go to these ones.
Yeah. And I think that's a great idea, man. How long have you boys been recording for?
We started last September, I think.
Yeah,
so
nice.
Coming close to a year now.
That's sick.
But it's like we came into this place in the end of March. So I think that's like, you can tell like the real big difference, the real big jump between there.
It feels more, I guess, legit too. Like I think after that year mark of doing it, it becomes sort of like a habit. It becomes part of your life. And you're like, you don't need to portion time as much. You can just be like, oh, well, that's just what I do on that day.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean?
Or it's more the other things get put around it.
Yeah, for sure. Like I definitely schedule a lot of my life around what I'm doing in terms of the podcast as well. And you know, people always ask me like, oh, like how long are you going to do it for? And I was like, well, I haven't put a time cap on it. Like
until it's not fun.
Until it's not fun. And that's the biggest thing is they're like, oh, what if people expect you to continue? And I'm like, well,
fuck them.
Fuck it. Like I'm doing like this is in no way like I'm not out here like being like, oh, I'm going to be the next giant podcast or anything. It's just fun. And it's like gaming. Yeah. Like if you get bored of a game, you're going to stop playing. But it's just, I'm glad that I've still have not even got a hint of being bored yet. Like there's probably some weeks that I'm like, oh, you know, I don't really feel it this week. But the best thing about it is, man, like you're in complete control. Like, you know, I took a weekend off this week, or this week there won't be an episode like released because I was like, you know, I just want to have a break. And then like a break from social media, and then you come back refreshed and you feel 10 times better. And then a lot of people don't even realize you're gone because you've got a whole bank of content still there. You know what I mean? You're not, your last episode isn't the only episode people are going to access. So exactly, I think that's the best thing about it. Like a lot of people are sort of like, they'll record 4 episodes and be like, I think I posted a story about it the other day. It was like, they'll record 4 episodes, not get any downloads, send me a message, be like, hey man, how do you get downloads? I was like, well, do it for a year and a half and then come back, man. Go record 60 episodes and see what happens.
Yeah, exactly.
Like everyone sort of thinks it's the most humbling experience starting one of these because you get a very clear taste that like, why the fuck should people listen to you?
Yeah.
Like, and I think if people come into the sort of the podcast game thinking that their opinion matters, like, no, you got to earn it. Like no one's going to like, you don't just pop up in like new podcasts next to the top podcast after your first episode. You know what I mean? Like I always look at like some of my episodes, like I've got like some episodes that got like 2 downloads. You know what I mean? And it's like, well,
and one was yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, you know, you're like, it's just the way it is. It's unfortunately, it's the game that we're in. Like, you know, it's not hard. Like it's not easy. Like if it was easy, everyone would be doing it. You know what I mean? You just got to genuinely love it.
Yeah. And I think that's a perfect way to finish it, man.
Yeah, man, definitely.
Don't put too much stress on yourself being something, caring what other people think.
Yeah, like of course.
You got to do something because you enjoy it, and like the fruits and the rewards will come from that.
That's it, man. And don't feel like you need the top, like you guys could advocate for this as well. You don't need a fucking amazing studio.
Exactly.
Yeah, you just need, like, I think you just need a good attitude. You just need to be able to want to do it and feel good when you're doing it.
Exactly. Yeah. Awesome, man. Thanks for coming on.
No dramas, man.
Sometime soon.
Yeah, man. I need to get you boys on, I think. Yeah, coming up soon. We'll find a time and we'll get you guys on and
definitely
have a chat.
Let's do it again.
Sounds good, brother.
Thanks for bringing the cards as well. It's super fun.
Hey, man, I love it, man. Hopefully I spark something in you.
yeah, for sure. All right, let's leave it there.
Cheers, easy, bro. Cheers, man.